So you want to start your own militia, huh? A militia unit could be as simple as a couple of guys getting together every weekend and training. If you and some friends want to go out and train paramilitary tactics and form a very small, like, cell-based organization that could maybe join into a larger organization later, that's probably the best thing you could be doing right now. Instead of joining some giant organization that's probably been infiltrated on some level by the federal government, I would go ahead and start your own small little group of people that can go out on the weekends and train, people you know, people you grew up with, and you know they're not feds because you went to school with them, you grew up with them, right? And if your group knows how to move, shoot, and communicate well, then it could be absorbed into an actual army later on, if that were ever needed, which doesn't seem like an inconceivable thing. Yeah, it seems like the formation of some kind of army could happen, like literally like a super militia. It seems like that could happen. Now, I'm not currently in a militia, but militia, the Republic of Florida militia was a huge part of my life when I was in it. And I know militias are gaining popularity right now as the government continues to have assaults on our freedoms and our constitutional rights. I know militias are soaring in popularity right now, and I know that my opinion on this matter is needed. As somebody that was involved in arguably I think we were the second largest militia in Florida. I had a high-ranking position in that organization. I wasn't the leader. I wasn't the founder like the media says. But, I was a high-ranking member, and an extremely high-ranking member for somebody as young as I was. And so, yeah, I often get asked about, should you start your own militia? Yes, with a lowercase m. Start your own militia with a lowercase m. Go out, meet with some friends that you know, that you trust, that you already have a good relationship with, already have a good dynamic with, or even your own family members. Like if you have, if you're married, you got a wife and some kids, definitely, go out and train. Now, I will say, I would start out with airsoft, to be honest with you. I would get kids and stuff like that, start them off with airsoft, and see if they can be responsible with that. Because if they can't show proper muzzle and trigger discipline with an airsoft weapon, then I don't think they would be able to do it with a real weapon. So start people off with that. It's a very good training aid. And then for the actual ballistics, you can go to the range and you can actually see how the recoil feels and all that, the sighting and all that. But for scenario LARPing, go ahead and get some airsoft guns for running scenarios, and you'll also run into less legal issues. If I'm a convicted felon, the ATF can roll up on me right now. I got an airsoft gun. What are you going to do to me? You can't do nothing to me. I know a lot of people say that I'm fake army and shit like that. Here's the deal, right? There wouldn't be a real army to join without people like me. Without regular citizens that stand up against tyranny, there wouldn't be a real army to join. It wouldn't exist. So, you say, I run into these military guys. Most of them were rear echelon motherfuckers, remps. And they say stuff like, I was in the real military. Well, I was in the real militia. So, I wasn't in a fake militia. I understand you were in the real military. I was in the real militia. So, you're no more real than I am. As a matter of fact, I was an unpaid volunteer that wasn't paid to do what I did it for free. The only reason I had anything to eat and a roof over my head was community donations and contributions. The only reason we existed was the community supported us. That's another thing I want to point out about you guys that want to start your own militias. Community support, you absolutely need it. If you don't have it, you're just, if you don't have community support, then you're not going to go anywhere. You know what I mean? Without community support, a militia cannot do anything. Especially if there's an armed group engaging in an insurgency against an oppressive government. If there's an armed group engaging in an uprising against a government, if it doesn't have the support of the local community, of the local population, it's not going to succeed. People need to have food stockpiles. People need to have preps in place. people need to have medical supplies in place, not just for themselves, but for their neighbors. People need to have the capacity to help themselves, their families, and their neighbors, particularly the men watching this. That is the greatest virtue of a man, is his ability to help his tribe is what really ultimately matters. We have been sold on consumerism. We have been sold on this pretty boy nonsense. We have been sold on expensive handbags and all this consumerist nonsense we've been sold on. That is not what makes a man. It's not about the car you drive. It is about your capacity to help your tribe and your people. That is what makes a man. True social status comes from the service you provide to your family, your community, and your people. It does not come from driving an expensive car that you're paying a 25% interest rate on. It does not come from jewelry and wearing flashy clothing. That is not where social status comes from. Social status comes from how much have you helped your people in your community. That is where social status really comes from. And I want to point this out. And no matter where I am in this world, either I be here, either I be in prison, or wherever you place me, I will help my people and I will help my fellow citizens. And when I was in prison, I helped a lot of my fellow citizens that were incarcerated that did stupid shit to go to prison. I helped a lot of them realize the error of their ways. And I want to point that out, that as a militiaman, if you become a militiaman, again, I'm not currently a militiaman, but I spent all my 20s as one. For the young people watching this, if you become a militiaman, do not lose sight of the fact that that is why you should be doing it. It is to recognize your true potential as a man to help assist your community, to be a man. And this is already played out in places like Yugoslavia. And so this is a time of legends. This is a time of heroes. And this is also a time of wolves and hyenas. Which one are you? That's the question you got to ask yourself.